Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing wonderful. And today we are going to be talking about the ice barriers. I've seen a few people in my previous video making comments and wanted me to make a deck list for the ice barriers. I don't know if y'all are wanting to copy it or to know how it works and whatever. So I guess that's why I'm here to to talk about it. So this deck is very okay. It's really a fun deck more than a competitive deck in my opinion. So I don't think you're gonna be competing against the decks I'm going against. So there's that, but you have to keep that in mind that this deck it's probably mostly a fun deck than a competitive one. So if y'all still want to make this, you can go ahead. So I, so the first card we have here is Nexubus, the Atlantean Prince. And what this card does is that you can send one Atlantean monster from the deck to the graveyard and add one Atlantean card from the deck to your hand. This is very good for what you're going to see with the other Atlantean monster. And if this card has been sent to the graveyard by a water monster, you can target one Atlantean monster and special summon it. You can activate these once per turn. He's really good for making combo plays and stuff, so you will see later on with Atlantean Dragoons what he will be doing. Uh, just a really good card, and you just want to instantly link him off to do something because he doesn't have that high stats. So he's really good for combos. So he's very good overall. Then we have Deep Sea Archstrand. I hope I'm saying that card's name right. And what this card does is, if this card's been added to the deck to the graveyard from a water monster, you can reveal this card and look at your opponent's hand, which is pretty much why you want to add this card, so you know what hand traps they will have, like Maxi or Ash Blossom or anything like that. Then, if this card is special summon, you can target one level 4 or lower water monster and special summon it, but its effects are negated. You can only use this once per turn. Very good card, and this is why you want the Atlantean monsters, because with Atlantean Dragoons, you can um, search out Sea Serpents, which is a Sea Serpent. That's what it is, and it's all about getting cards from the hand and do stuff from the hand to get an advantage on your opponent. So very good card. Um, and there's a lot more options to pick with the Sea Serpent. So if you want to look at your opponent's hand, you can with this card. So it's super super good. And then we have Hexa, which is our very first ice barrier monster. I'd also do want to keep in mind that I recently changed this deck. This was some of the cards in here were not in my previous videos, so um, I do apologize for that. But these cards are kind of better, so there's that. So now we have Hexa. Very good. While you control an Ice Barrier monster, all your opponents loses at 500 attack and defense. And then during your main phase, you can send one level 3 or lower Ice Barrier monster from the deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card becomes that level. You can only activate this once per turn. Very good card. It sends like cards to the graveyard. Which you want to get is Zujin to the graveyard to pretty much wait for him next turn, so you can special summon him, which is very good. Which we're going to get him into a little bit in a second. But overall, it's an okay card. It's not the greatest by all means. It's not really that great, so it's still good, but it's fine, I guess. And then now we have Prior of the Ice Barrier. This card, if you control a Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but you cannot special summon any level 5 or higher monsters the turn you summon this way. That's very bad, especially if you want to synchro summon, because that's kind of like what the Ice Barriers are meant for. It's supposed to be meant for synchro summoning, whatever. But the good part of this card, you can tribute this card from the field, of course, and then special summon one Ice Barrier monster from the graveyard. Very good. It doesn't matter what Ice Barrier monster, it doesn't care about its level. You can bring about Trishula, Zero Dragon, the normal Trishula, any Ice Barrier monster, which is very good. It's just pretty much an Ice Barrier monster reborn, pretty much, which is very good. But do not use his special summon. It's very, you don't want to do that unless if you're using him for links. Go ahead, but it's very bad when it comes to synchro summoning, because that's the whole point, is the synchro summon with this deck. And then next up, Zujin of the Ice Barrier. You contribute this card to special summon one level 5 or higher Ice Barrier monster from your hand. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can target one level 3 or higher water monster, could reduce its level by 2. And if you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves. You're going to like to activate this once per turn. Very good card, especially if you're going first, because you don't want to go first with this deck. But if you have General Wayne in your hand and there's no way for you to special summon him, you could just summon out to the field, tribute him to special summon General Wayne from your hand, which is only useful unless like you're going first, which is very not really that often you're going to go first, if that makes any sense. I mean, but the reason why he's so good is because his graveyard effect. You can special summon himself, you can reduce a synchro monster's level to special summon himself, and then you can pull off more links. Very good. It's a very good card. So he's very good for linking. I would say that, actually. He's very good for linking. So there's him. Now we have Geomancer. Once per turn while face up on the field, you can discard one card and declare an attribute, and this card cannot be targeted for that declared for attacks with that declared attribute. This card's not that useful. I mean, unless if you have an Atlantean monster, then go ahead and discard that card so you can pull off plays. The only reason why she's kind of here is to be a tuner, which she is a tuner, a level 3 tuner. And it's only really useful unless if you have an Atlantean monster in your hand, to be honest. But otherwise, you're just going to be using her for either Link or Synchro. So you can bring her from, like, Revealer or whatever, right? Just using her for Synchro or Links, it really doesn't matter. That's what her main thing is, you know. And now we have Defender, which in my opinion is the best Ice Barrier tuner monster in the deck. While you control an Ice Barrier monster, monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack if their attack is greater or equal to this card's defense. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't really, like, work, I guess. I don't know. She's really good. The Defender's really good for when you have your combo, so you can go into Trishula, Zero Dragon, when you have Speaker and Revealer or another level 4 or whatever. Go into that, and then if you want to link, you can link into the one of the link monsters and special summon him from the graveyard, and then make sure that they cannot declare an attack. So, very good card. It's good for stalling, just in case you don't have anything. So it's very good. So, but you also do have to control another Ice Barrier, which is the whole thing about Ice Barrier, is that you need to control another Ice Barrier. So there's that. And now we have Ash Blossom, which, of course, hand traps is very good in Yu-Gi-Oh! I would say not to go for Max C for this deck, is because you want cards from the deck to be added to your hand by an effect instead of just drawing the cards. You know, you like Max C, you can just to get like everything you want into your hand, but it's very like pointless for some of these cards, because they were really good when it comes to, you know, adding cards from the hand by an effect. So I think Ash Blossom is kind of like the best hand trap to get. You could use Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veiler if you want to, but I think Ash Blossom is the best for this deck, if that makes any sense. So 3 copies. And now we have the best Ice Barrier monster within the deck, which is Revealer of the Ice Barrier. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, your opponent cannot tribute summon. It's not really that useful. You can use the effect each of the following effects of Effect Veiler once per turn. Pretty much, you can discard a card to special summon an Ice Barrier tuner monster from the deck. For the rest of the turn, you cannot summon monsters except water. And then you can discard this card from the graveyard for a cost of an effect. Like if Revealer is trying to activate her effect to discard a card, you can banish another Revealer from the graveyard to pretty much, instead of like losing a card in your hand, you can just banish one from the graveyard and then special summon a tuner. So you can do that, which is very useful, just in case you don't have any cards in your hand, or the cards in your hand are too valuable to have to be discarded. So this is like the best ice barrier monster within the deck. So very good. This is a very good card. So this is the combo player right here. And now we have Deep Stream Mindstroll. Hope I'm saying that right. I did skip over a few cards, so that's my fault. So we should be back on track now. But what this card does is you can discard this card and one water monster to look at your opponent's hand and banish one card from their hand. Face up until the end phase, which is very good. You can like reveal their hand again to look at whatever you need to look at, and banish like Ash Blossom to make sure you can go on with your play with no problem. Then you can send 3 cards from your deck, then target one water monster in your graveyard except this card. Place it on the bottom or on the top. No, at the bottom. No, it is the top and bottom. Okay, I'm sorry. This card's very good. You want to add this from out of the Sea Serpents you're gonna get from Atlantean Dragon to get this card. Discard this with another water monster. Then look at your opponent's hand, see if they have Max C. Let's see if they have Ash Blossom or something like that to negate, like make sure they don't negate like your plays or anything like that. So very good card, and they get it back at the end phase, but you make sure you get on with your thing, right? It's a very good card, very good card. It's pretty good. And now we have Atlantean Dragons, which is the card I've been talking about, which you want to discard. What this card does, all level 3 or lower Sea Suffering monsters can attack directly. Not really important. But if this card has been sent to the graveyard to activate from a water monster, sent to the graveyard by a water monster pretty much, you can add one Sea Suffering monster from the deck to the hand except this card, which I showed you with the previous cards are very good. You can, like with the Deep Seas, you can reveal the card, you can banish a card from the thing, or reveal like your the opponent's hand. You can like add like a Lapis Dragon to reveal itself, to special summon itself. This card is like the main card you want to discard. Always. You always want to discard this card to get a Sea Serpent from your hand, because he is one of the best cards to discard, pretty much. So anytime you have a card to discard from a Water Monster's effect, go ahead and do it. Him guaranteed. Always guaranteed to do him. So you can pull off plays and everything like that. Very good card. Now we have the second best Ice Barrier card, or third, whatever, which one y'all think it is. What this card does is, while you control another Ice Barrier monsters, defense position monsters cannot change their battle positions. Which is okay. It's just there. And then if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if this card's been sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card to special summon one Ice Barrier token, and you can only activate her effect once per turn, which is a soft once per turn, so you can use this within the same turn. It's very good for linking. She's very good for linking. She's very good for the combo plays, so you can get into your Trishula. You want her with Revealer with a level 3 like Geomancer or Defender to go into your Zero Dragon, which is very good, and she can just easily special summon herself. So very good card. She's one of the bests in the deck. So she's very good. Now we have Silency Needle, which is one of the most recent cards that came out. I forgot which pack this card came out with, but it's relatively recent. But this card is very good because if you control a water monster, which is 90% of your deck, you can special summon this card. And if this card's is in the graveyard, you can banish that card to return 3 water monsters to the back to the deck. back into the deck, which is very good. You can bring back your synchro monsters from this. You can bring back your link monsters to do more plays. You can, you know, do whatever, like, or bring back like Revealer, Speaker back into the deck, or General Wayne, so you can pull off more plays and whatever. Very good card. It's just this one's just very good overall. Because it just pulls off more plays, more special summons, more cards for you, more deadly for your opponent. So you can get into Zero Dragon, linking, there's that. Now we have Lapis Dragon. If this card's been added to the deck to the hand, you can reveal this card, special summon it, and if this card's been added from the graveyard to your hand by a card effect, you can reveal this card, special summon it, but banish it when it leaves. You can only activate this once per turn. The thing is, I don't think you're gonna be able to get this card from the graveyard to the hand, but you don't want to do that. But if you can, don't do it, because it's gonna banish it. But this is like one of the main cards I used to pick from Atlantean Dragoon, so he can be able to special summon himself for link summoning. It's a very good card. 2600 defense, high defense, level 5 tuner, by the way. It's the highest tuner in the deck. So there's that. Very good card. You can just easily just special summon it. So I guess that's very good. But there's that. Then we have General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. This is the second best Ice Barrier monster in my opinion, because he's pretty much the reason why you want to go second. Because what he does is all spell trap cards sent to the graveyard by your opponent are banished, which is very good because for like stuff like Sky Strikers, Eldritch decks that relies on their spells and traps, they're gonna be banished. So which is very good. Then if you control an Ice Barrier monster and your opponent controls one monster or any monsters, special summon this card from your hand, and when this card has been normal or special summoned, you can add one Ice Barrier spell or trap. Currently, there's no Ice Barrier trap card. Well, there is, but I don't think it's in Master Duel right now. It's been recently made, but yeah, he's very good. You can bring like Freezing Chains, Medallion of the Ice Barrier, Winds over the Ice Barrier, any one of those cards from your to your hand, and you can push off more plays with him. By the way, free special summon as well. He's pretty much the reason why you want to go second. Because there's going to be a really good chance that your opponent's going to have a monster guaranteed. It's guaranteed, right? So special summon him, spell a trap, do whatever you want with him, link, whatever, synchro if you want to. Very, very good card. One of the best in the deck. Now we have the Elemental Lord. I'm not going to say his first name because it's very long and I don't know how to say it. But his effects are: can't be normal summon, must be special summoned. I said set, my bad. By having exactly 5 water monsters in your graveyard. If this card is special summoned, discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Very good. That's all you need to do with this card. If you ever special summon this card, it's going to guarantee discard 2 random cards from your opponent. That could be Ash Blossom, Maxi, Infinite Impermanence, any one of those cards is going to be discarded. The downside of this card, if he ever leaves the field, if you don't want him off the field, if he gets off the field for any point, it skips your next battle phase. So, guarantees like that. So don't link him off. Don't let him get destroyed. It's going to skip your next battle phase. You don't want that. The only reason why you want him special summon to discard 2 cards from your opponent's hand. That's the reason why you want, that card. Then we got Monster Reborn. I'm just going to kind of keep this one short. It's just Monster Reborn. We all know what that card does. I don't think it's the most necessary card, but if you're really desperate to get a monster out on the field, or you need a card to pull off a play, then you can Monster Reborn that card to do whatever. It's obvious. Almost every single deck needs a Monster Reborn. So, yeah. We also have Desynchro. Very good card. like you want to desynchro your Trishula Zero Dragon, because we will explain what she does whenever we get to Trishula. Pretty much desynchro your Trishula, then it will special summon all your materials that you use for that card, and then pretty much resynchro back into Trishula Dragon. Pretty much, if you can get this done successfully, you can banish 6 cards from your opponent's field. If you want to do the normal Trishula, you can be able to banish 2 cards from your opponent's hand, 2 cards from your opponent's field, and also 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. So very good. This card's very good. Make sure that if you're using Speaker or Zujin as a synchro material, if they ever get banished, you just do not ever use this card, because you're not going to get any materials out because those cards have been banished. So if any of the materials has been banished or returned to the deck, you're not going to get them. You're not going to get the materials out. So do keep that in mind. If you ever use like Speaker as a material and banish her to special summon a token, you're not going to you're not going to special summon the materials because she's banished. So so do keep that in mind as well, that can happen with desynchro. So, and now we have Medallion of the Ice Barrier. I'm going to keep this one short. All it does is just adds a Ice Barrier monster to your hand. That's all it pretty much does. Also, I'm sorry for how long this video is going to be, because I didn't think it was going to be this long that I was going to make this video, but I wanted to go in detail with every card so you will understand what to do or what the cards pretty much do. But I'm sorry for how long this video is going to be, so I apologize for that. But yeah, Medallion of the Ice Barrier, not once per turn. Very good. Just adds Ice Barrier monster. I mean, that's pretty much it. Now we got Winds of the Ice Barrier, which is pretty much the recovery card that is like pretty much the best within the deck. Just because this card is very good when you have a dead hand. If you don't have Revealer, if you don't have Speaker, you don't have like General Wayne. Well, actually you can't. Actually, General Wayne doesn't really help, but like Revealer or Speaker or something like that, you can tribute any number of Ice Barrier monsters that you have on the field, then special summon level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monsters from the deck. Very good. If this card's been sent to the graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, banish this card. You can add a Ice Barrier monster from either the banished or graveyard zone. Very good card, because this is a very good card, because just in case you brick, if you only have just like Hexa or something like that, and don't have any other Ice Barrier monsters, tribute it to special summon Revealer, and then activate her effect, whatever, yada yada, to pull off your play. Very good, just in case you have a brick hand. If you don't have a brick hand, you want to discard this card because it's a graveyard effect to banish itself. So there's that. Then we have Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. I'm sorry. When this card is activated, you can target one level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monster from your graveyard, special summon it. And if you control 3 or more Ice Barrier monsters, your monsters are unaffected by activated effects of your opponents that were special summoned from the extra deck. Not really that useful. They could have made this card better, in my opinion, if it was every turn, once per turn, you could special summon a Ice Barrier monster. That's what people wanted for this card to do, but they didn't want to do that for some reason. I don't know why. But this is very good because, like, if you have Prior in your graveyard, you can special summon him, and then you can tribute him to special summon a higher Ice Barrier monster from like your graveyard. Like Trishula is in your, just in case if like not Zero Giant, Trishula is in your graveyard, or any of the level 4s, or like General Wayne, I guess, if you want to get. So he's a very good card. It's just, that's all it does, but it's only on activation, so you do have to keep that in mind. It's on activation, so you don't want to do this if you have no cards in your hand, obviously. No cards in graveyard, I mean. So the card could have been a lot better but they just didn't want to make it better for some reason. And I kind of get it, but come on, they could have done something with it. Like, they didn't have to make it unaffected by extra deck, which is fine. But they could have just made it protects it from other things, you know. But that's freezing chains. Let's get on to the next one. Now we're going into the traps. To be honest with everyone, you don't really need any traps in the deck, especially not this one. So what this card does is, depending how many Iceberg Synchro monsters you have on the field, to do different effects. So if you have one Synchro monster, you can banish one card your opponent controls, which is guaranteed banish, right? If you have two, you can banish one card from your opponent's graveyard. It's fine. And then one from your opponent's hand. If you have three, which you're not going to get, you're not going to have more than what you call it. So now, then, if someone targets your Iceberg or Synchro monster, you can banish this card instead. Like if someone's targeting it to destroy like Trishula, banish this card instead, and it'll be pretty much a protection. This card's great. It gives you an extra banish, so that's very good. That's pretty much the only reason why this card's in the deck. This is the only reason why, just to get an extra banish off and an extra protection from anything that's trying to destroy your Iceberg monsters. It's a good trap card. It just don't really see that much play, because there's really kind of no point to it. But if you want to run this card, you can. You really can. So now we have the last card in the main deck, which is Zujin match. Each player can only control one attribute of a monster and send all other face-up monsters they control to the graveyard. Very good. You're going to have 90% of this deck is water. You're not going to have any other attribute. So, very good. I see some people, you can just run two of this card instead of the other trap card. Or you just don't have to, run trap cards, you know. You don't even have to run that, any trap cards with this deck. But if you want to, you can run two of this one or run two of the other one. Now we're going into the extra deck. We're almost there. This video is almost done. Formula Synchron, you're not going to bring him out. All he's there for is just to draw a card. That's all he's there for, because you're going to special summon him from Hyperfiber X. I'm keeping this one short. Now we got Crystron Quadratics. This card, same thing, Hyperfiber X, special summon a level 4 or lower Synchro monster from Hyperfiber X. So you can special summon this guy from his effect. We're going to get into Hyperfiber X later. But pretty much all he does is that you can Synchro summon on your opponent's turn. This is what this guy does. And also the other guy too, the other Synchro monster as well. He can do the same thing. They're all going to be there for the Link monster, Hyperfiber X. So do keep that in mind. So that's all he's there for. So he can Synchro summon in your opponent's turn, just in case if you have a monster, another material on the field, to be able to do that. So that's why he's there. Now, Stardust Charge Warrior is the same reason why we have Formula Synchron into the deck. Is just to pretty much draw a card. He's just level 6. He can easy to summon out. So I'm just trying to keep these ones short, because they don't really do much within the deck. So he's just there to draw a card. If you can basically trade out those two, Formula Synchron and this one, for any other Synchro monsters or Link monsters that you want. These are not needed. This is just for me, just to see if I can get cards I need to my hand, like drawing cards and everything like that. So there's that. Now we're going into the big boy cards, which is first up, White Aura Whale. What he does is, if this card is Synchro Summon, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Very good. It's a clean board wipe for your opponent. This card can do 2 attacks in the battle phase, If someone's in defense, he can do piercing damage. And if this guy's been sent to the graveyard, you can banish one water monster from your graveyard to special summon him back. He's always going to come back. This card is very good. It's a very broken card. Because he has all those different effects to do and everything like that. Very good. You always kind of want to bring this guy out because you know he's going to be coming back every time. So, very OP card that you always want to synchro into, which is not hard with the Iceberg. Then we have Ambassador Risen Dreadeye, I think his name is. I'm sorry that I don't know his name. His first effect, not really important. You're not going to have any rock types in your deck, so this first effect is not, it's going to do nothing. And then, but this is where this card comes in. Very useful. If anybody activates an effect or a spell or trap, if you have a water monster in your graveyard, you can negate that effect and destroy it. Very good card. You're always going to have a water monster in your graveyard. 90% of your deck. So you're always going to have a water monster in your graveyard, and you could just pretty much negate a spell or trap or an effect. Just like that. And then he's also a 3000 beat stick, the highest of the synchro monsters. So, very good. And finally, we have Trishula, the OP card herself. We all know what she does, if just in case y'all don't know. If this card is synchro summon, banish one card from your opponent's hand, graveyard, and field. That's all it does. That's all she does. This is the reason why she's been banned for the longest time, and now she's back only at limited. And like I said before, with the synchro, you can pretty much synchro back into this card twice in one turn. And then banish 2 cards from your opponent's hand, graveyard, and field. So very good. There's not really much to say here until we get to Zero Dragon, but there's that combo you're talking about. Y'all can pretty much see it, that you can banish 2 cards from your opponent's hand and field. Very good. Now we have our second Christron monster, Quandradix. That's what I call him, but I'm pretty sure it's a long name. I don't know how to say it, but pretty much he's another Zero Dragon. You need 2 tuners for this guy, and then he can also banish from the field and graveyard up to the numbers of synchro materials. But you're at least gonna have like 1 banished card from either field or graveyard. Very good. And then you can target like 1 banished monster and special summon it when he leaves the field, when he's get destroyed by a card effect or battle. It's not that effect is not that great, because what banished card are you gonna have in your banish zone? But like I said, he's gonna banish for you. So, and he's also a 3000 beat stick. So, very good. Now we have Zero Dragon, Trishula Zero Dragon, the card that carries this deck, which is very, very good. If y'all don't know what Trishula Zero Dragon does, you can banish 3 cards when it's synchro summon. Banish 3 cards your opponent controls. Then, if this synchro summon card is destroyed, half your the attack of your opponent's monsters and negate their effects. Every monster, and it's permanent until they leave the field, of course. But it halves everybody's attack and their effects are negated. And then you special summon Trishula from either the graveyard or the extra deck. And then if you do, she's gonna have 3,300 attack. Very good card. This one's very kind of OP if you use desynchro on this card, because banish up to 6 cards, very OP. And if the graveyard effect is successful, is another OP thing. Stops everyone from doing anything after Trishula's been special summoned. Very OP card. That's why you always see me bringing out this card every game, because everyone underestimates this card's abilities, and they just get screwed over for that. And there's not really, I don't think there's a lot of ways people can stop it from the graveyard. So I'm obviously wrong about that, but Very OP card. The card that carries the entire deck. And now we have another recent card, which is number 4 Stealth Kraken, whatever. Um, Needs 2 level 4s, so Revealer and Speaker. Then what this card does is makes every monster on the field water. And then you can, during the main phase, it's a quick effect. You can destroy 1 water monster on the field and inflict damage to the original attack. So if like someone has a blue eyes and in this card's on the field, that blue eyes becomes a water monster, and then you could just destroy that blue eyes, and then your opponent will take 3,000. It's really broken because it's pretty much a mini dragoon. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. It's just a mini one. He doesn't have that crazy stats, so he could be destroyed easily. And that's pretty much what this card is for. And also, it doesn't target cards. It says destroy 1 card. So it's going to be almost impossible for your opponent to stop that because it's not targeting. If that makes any sense. So, this card doesn't target, so it's OP. If your opponent doesn't do anything about it, obviously. But very, very good Xyz monster. Very good. Then now we're going into our final batch of cards, which are going to be our Link monsters. Then now we have Crystron Hyperfibrax. I think everybody knows what this card does, but if y'all don't, you can special summon a tuner monster from the deck. It negates that card's effect, but it doesn't matter because you can just link into it to another monster, which is fine. But if this card stays on the field during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can banish this card to special summon a synchro monster from the extra deck. I think it was at level 4? No, level 3 or lower. No. Yeah, tuner synchro monster, I'm sorry. Tuner synchro monster. Doesn't matter about the level. So that's why people used to run Razor Dragon in this deck. Didn't really find it useful, but that's why the formula synchron's here and the other low level ones. So because of him, it's a very good card. So now we have Miraness. I hope I'm saying that right. Miranesses, I think it's called. Coral. I don't know. You can see it on screen, but the only reason why she's in this deck is because she can special summon a water monster with 15 attack or less from the graveyard, which is pretty much most of the ice barriers or most of your cards because they're not really that strong. But yeah, this card is good. It pulls off link summonings and everything. This does the same thing that Revealer does, that you can only special summon water monsters when you activate this effect. So if you're trying to bring out access code, this will not help you because you can only special summon water monsters, which is fine. But if you're trying to go into access code, it's very difficult because you're going to have to wait another turn to link summon again. So keep an eye out for that. Now we have Power Code Talker. I'm going to keep this one short. He's only here for link summoning. He's only here to bring out access code Talker. You're not really going to use him that often. You could trade this out for another Link 3 monster. So, there's that. So, he's just there for helping you bring out access code. Like I said, you can trade out, whatever. So, there's that. Now we have another Miraness, which is a Wonder Heart. Same thing with this card. She's not really important. If you do bring this card out and she's destroyed by a card effect or battle, you can special summon a Link 3 or lower Miraness, which is your other Miraness from the graveyard. It's good recovery. But other than that, you can trade this out for another Link monster if you want to. You can just trade this out if you want to. So, yeah. And now we have Access Code Talker, which is the final card in the deck. You don't have to have Access Code Talker in this deck. You can just switch them out for something else. I just wanted to use Access Code Talker in this deck. It's not hard to bring them out in this deck. You just got to be patient. We all know what Access Code does. So, there's that. So I guess that's the deck. everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry this video was like over like 40 minutes long. I didn't expect it to be that long, but like I said, I wanted to get into detail with almost every card uh, in this deck. So, um, yeah. So, I hope you enjoyed. You can copy this down in this deck. If you want to subscribe, like, comment, whatever y'all feel like y'all want to do, whatever. So, uh, yeah. I'll see you guys later.